Hello, my name is Naomi. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I want to talk about this book that I read. It's a Cover for Glory, a biblical defense for head covering by Dale Partridge. So I bought this book recently, and I did mention it when I did my head covering haul video. And I said that I would share my thoughts after I read the book. My plan was actually to do this video yesterday, but I did a couple of other videos. I did my grocery shopping, had to get everything put away, cooking food, some basic housework stuff, and time got away from me. And I did not get back to talk about this book. So I just want to say, first of all, that overall, I loved it. I thought it was very well written, very well organized. So I'm just going to start with that for those who just want to hear, what's your overall opinion? Let's just jump straight to that. So I would say loved it, hardcore. The foreword was written by Joel Webbon of Right Response Ministries. And Joel Webbon, there's a lot that he says that I agree with, and I really enjoyed the foreword that he wrote. And he is very, sorry, I keep looking down at the book. He's a very intelligent man who is, I would say that he's very knowledgeable on theological topics. So I thought that the addition of Joel Webbon's foreword was a great addition, and I liked it. So let's talk about the book just a little bit. It's laid out in a very easy to read format. He's got 3 sections in this book. Section 1 is devoted to, it's a very short section that's only got 3 chapters. He's got basically him and his wife's experience with head covering and how they came to the conviction that she should cover her head. So that was a really good chapter to lead out the book with. Next, he went into the history of head covering, which is really fascinating. When you look back through history, women did cover their hair in Christian cultures, and even in the Islamic cultures and the Jewish ones. These different cultures, the women covered their head, and I believe that you even see that in maybe the Hindu religion in India. I believe there was some head covering there too, but that specifically is not talked about in the book. But throughout history, Christian women covered their hair. It was a commonly held belief that 1 Corinthians 11 was for all times, that it was a command. So he goes into the history, and he goes into the more recent big name theologians who believed and taught head covering. So that is mentioned as well in the book. Then he goes into a chapter about the rise of feminism and the falling away from head covering. And basically what you get from that chapter, the main takeaway is that there was this rise, when feminism started to rise, women started to take the head covers off. And then you had the whole sexual revolution in the 1960s. And that's when the head covers really came off. Because even in the 1950s, women were covering their hair for church. Maybe not outside of church. At one time, women just covered, married women were expected to cover their hair. It was just part of our culture. It was just expected. And then slowly it went to, well, we only cover in the church. And then the covers got smaller and smaller. And you had these cute little fascinators, and you can get them today. I have a friend who is big into pinup, and she loves fascinators. She thinks they're these tiny little hats with maybe some, I don't know, some kind of see-through fabric attached to them. Feathers, maybe flowers, whatever it is that makes them pretty. They're cute. And then the head coverings just went away completely. So That's what section 1 is about. Now, section 2 gets into breaking down verse by verse the meanings of the words and the arguments of that passage of scripture. So basically there's, the call, what did he call it? I'll just look quick in the book while I'm thinking about it, because I want to word this correctly. An argument from authority, an argument from creation, an argument from the spiritual realm, men and women equal before God, an argument from nature, and an argument from the church. And basically it is breaking down that passage. Some of those chapters have more than one verse. Some of them are just covered. Like there's one chapter dedicated to 1 Corinthians 11:16, but the chapter prior is for verses 13 through 15. And prior to that is 11 through 12. And then 10 has a chapter all its own, and 7 through 9, and 3 through 6. So basically he goes section by section and breaks that down. And the main point, though, that I would like to state is if the hair itself was the covering, there would be no need to even address this in the Bible. It would not be a discussion, because the woman then always has her cover. No need to bring up covers. So that's a pretty easy argument there. Then the third section is the smallest section of the book. The third section contains a conclusion. And then there is a chapter that is devoted to questions and answers. Let me just go into that chapter really quick here. Are head coverings just for wives or all females? How much of my head should be covered? How often should I wear my head covering? What should I do if my husband disagrees with my conviction to cover my head? Should I leave my church if they don't practice head covering? How can I humbly share the doctrine of head coverings with others? If head covering is a practice for today, why wasn't it a practice under the old covenant? Which I would like to just insert in there. There is evidence in the Old Testament that it actually was. But if Paul anchors his reasoning for head coverings in creation, did Eve wear a head covering? Peter talks about hair in his first epistle, so why doesn't he mention head coverings? I'm a pastor, and this book persuaded me. How do I implement this doctrine at our church? I used to belong to a church with legalistic and cult-like doctrine, and as a result, I associate head coverings with that group. It's difficult for me to wear a head covering again. What should I do? That is the last question. So there's a section that has all of the questions that may come up while someone is reading this book, and then some basic answers to those questions. So I found the book to be very helpful and very useful. I have other books about head covering, so I'll probably also do a review on those just to share my thoughts on those books as well. Because the first book I read on head covering was actually that one by Jeremy Gardner. Can't remember what it's called. Probably called The Head Covering Movement, because he had that YouTube channel by the same name. So I bet it's called The Head Covering Movement. Maybe. I'll double check. But overall, the book, this is probably, Jeremy Gardner's was really good too. But so far, the best organized, the most well-written book that I have found about head covering is this one. Now, I do also have another one. I don't know what I did with it. It's probably on my bookshelf. I have a whole bookshelf devoted to theology, which probably sounds really crazy, but I do. And anyway, I probably put it on there. But I have a new one on head covering that I found that I also ordered so that I could read it and share my thoughts on that. because I think these books are great. I would highly recommend buying this one and reading this one if you have any questions, because this guy answers them pretty thoroughly. I can link, I'll put the link, the Amazon link, I'll put it in the comments and pin it so that it's like right at the top of the comment section. So if you go to the comment section, there will be a link to Amazon to this book, so that it's quick and easy. You can just click on it. I don't think it costs that much. I don't remember what I paid for it. It was cheap though. I'm pretty sure it was under 15, I believe. So really a good deal and worthwhile read. I'm going to post this, and then, like I said, I will also do a review. I'm actually going to reread the Jeremy Gardner one before I post that one, because it's been a while since I read it, so I want it kind of fresh in my mind when I share my thoughts with you. And then on the other one that I bought, when I read that, I'll share that one as well. And I may do a few shorts showing all 3 books that I recommend at some point, just to get the word out there. Hey, we got some great literature that's being put out now that, you know, people used to have questions and not have answers, but these guys are trying their darndest to get the answers out there and to thoroughly discuss the head covering topic. So thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys later.